This video is made possible by our loyal Patreon supporters. Visit patreon.com/Psychetruth.
I have tons of awesome videos already ready for you. You can join me on Amazon Prime Video. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell. Follow us on social media for tips, tutorials, giveaways, and daily inspiration. Hey, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Yesterday's flow was a little bit amped up, and we're going to continue on increasing the challenge with a balanced flow today. So when we think about balance, it's essential for any workout or yoga regimen so that you tone your legs, you fire up those big burner muscles, but you're also getting those stabilizer muscles. These are the muscles you want to target if you're working on agility, balance, and you want to take your fitness to the next level. So as you go through today, absolutely expect that some of these poses are going to be challenging. Again, because this is a yoga practice, not a yoga perfect, it's okay to try these poses over and over again as you get your feet wet with them. So let's begin. We're gonna start standing so we really find the ground underneath the feet. Lift and flare your toes, draw your low belly in, and then as you reach the arms up, go a little wide with them today so you're taking up more space on your mat. Good, and then put a little softness in the knees. As we go through balance, you don't want to be rigid. You can be regal, but you don't need to be rigid. All right, take your right hand to your left forearm, a little side bend, and think more about pulling and stretching the side skin of the body. Good, and then switch to the other side. Should just feel like a good morning stretch. Great, and then take the elbows wide, squeeze the shoulder blades together and lift the heart. Good, and then bring your hands to your heart, step to the top of your mat, and come into a forward fold, bending your knees, drop your belly between your thighs, and let your head dangle down to the floor. Unzipper the back of your neck. Bend into your right knee a lot, and then just begin to straighten into the left leg any amount. The knee does not need to lock. In fact, throughout this entire video, be mindful of your knees. You don't want to lock them. You do want to harness muscle in the thigh, the back of the thigh, and in the lower leg. Good. Switch to the other side. As you press down through the right foot and extend up through the leg and out through the hip, notice the side panel of the hip and thigh getting a nice big release. Good, and now both knees bend, drop your head once again, grab for opposite elbows, and let the weight of your head and your arms drag a nice stretch into the back. Great, release your hands, come to a halfway lift, move your heart forward, lengthen your spine, and on your exhale, step back to a high plank. We're just gonna hold high plank to turn on the core before we start getting into some more challenging movements. Drag the pubic bone up to the belly button, press into the ground and broaden your collarbones. Let your core kick on. It should feel like a corset of your waist. Begin to snuggle in tight so that your spine is really supported. Good, and then soften the knees, shift the hips up and back, and press into downward facing dog, continuing those pedaling of the legs. So important to start to warm up the muscles that we need for balance, our core, our legs, and our feet. Good. In the last video, we talked a little bit about drishti. Drishti is a focal point. And I'll talk a lot about that in this class as well, because as we come into balance, we want to find something that's not moving that we can fix our gaze upon. It just helps our brain understand a little bit better where our body is in space. Good, both heels low. One more breath in. Open mouth exhale. Great. And then just lunge your right foot forward. Lunge your right foot forward. Early in class, so if this lunge needs a little extra juice to it, you're welcome to just feel it out as you place the right foot down. Maybe you come to your finger pads or you put your hands on blocks. Strengthen the back leg and move the skin of the heart forward. Gently steer the right sit bone back. Wonderful. Now just shorten the stance a little bit. Hop the back foot in an inch or two. That'll give you more stability. Press down through the front heel. Lift your hands to your heart. From there, we're going to come into a high crescent lunge and extend the arms overhead. Drop the tail low, zip the belly in, and lift your chest up. We're going to continue to turn on the core right here from Crescent, so we get a combination of balance challenge as well as core work. Whenever we're using the lower body and the upper body, it's an additional challenge for the brain, as well as an extra boost for calorie burn. So go with it, let it build heat in the body. Wrap your right arm underneath your left arm for eagle arms. It may feel better in your body to take your hands to your shoulders, but if you can bind your wrists, do so. Plug your thumb into your third eye, lift your chest up. So the balance challenge starts right here. You might notice you're shaking and quaking. On your exhale, bring your elbows to your knee, round your back, and hug your belly in. Continue to stay deep in your lunge and wrap the front ribs into the back body. Good. Inhale, lift your gaze. Exhale, elbow towards the knee. It's okay if the elbow and knee doesn't touch. That's fine. You're just going down as far as you can. Pay attention to your belly, draw it in. Inhale, lift the torso. Exhale, elbow to knee. A little wobble here and there is just fine. You're turning on all the right muscles. One more time, lift the torso. Good. Elbow to knee and hold. This time, plug the knee and the elbow into one another as much as you can. Drag the pubic bone up towards the belly button. Great. Unravel your arms, reach up. Big breath. Downward facing dog. And then sweep the right leg high. Circle open the hips to stack. Bend your right knee and lift it towards the ceiling. Just a nice big release. And place your foot back down. Pedal the legs. A little cha-cha-cha to shake that out. Great. Let's move on to the other side. Left foot steps forward. Again, you can come onto your finger pads or situate your foot as much as you need to. It should feel fresh on this side. First time you've been here on the left. Press down through the heel. Broaden the collarbone, a little up dog or cobra quality in the heart. Great. Now, shorten the stance an inch or two. That'll just give you a little more sure footing. Press through the front heel, draw the hands to the heart, and then reach up. Look for grounded energy through your legs, lifted, air-like, buoyant energy in the heart. And then swing the left arm underneath the right. Again, you can totally grab for your shoulder heads or bind at the wrists. And then plug your thumb right into your third eye. This is not only a great place for you to help your body find balance, but your third eye is sort of your wisdom point in the body. So it just helps us find that focus we need to do something challenging. Lift your chest and your gaze. Good. And then elbow to knee. Lift your chest. Use the inhale so that as you come up, you feel your lungs fill to their maximum. And as you exhale, round, curl, and drag the belly button in. Notice if you're putting a lot of weight as you move through this into your toes. Press through the front heel. Exhale, elbow to knee. Wrap in, ribs knit in. One more time, lift your forearms. A little wobble here and there is absolutely necessary. Exhale, elbow to knee and hold. Find this challenging shape. You're doing great. Good. Everything unravels. Reach up. Down dog, hands down. Step back. And then lift your left leg. Circle open your hips to stack. Bend your knee. Lift your knee a little bit higher until you feel a nice big stretch for the hip and your grounded leg. And then touch it down. Take a deep breath in. An open mouth. Let's take a little vinyasa to rinse it out. Soften the knees, push forward to your plank. Lower halfway or all the way. Upward facing dog, roll the shoulders back. Downward facing dog, lift your hips up high. Breathe out an open mouth. Great. Now step your right foot forward, connect your back heel down. We took quite a few warrior ones in the last practice. We're going to revisit. So revisiting poses is really good. It helps you build memory for them. Press down through all four corners of both feet. Reach your arms up. Great. Now take your hands behind your back, loop the shoulder heads back, and press your knuckles down. You might notice a big expansion across the chest. That's good. Breathe into it. And then exhale to humble warrior. The legs stay the same, but if you notice that you feel like you're on a tightrope, you might heel toe the foot just a bit wider and then drop the head. From this humble warrior, we'll take a variation called warrior dog. It's exactly what it sounds like. Warrior in the legs, down dog in the arms, come onto the finger pads. It's just a really great hip stretch. Steer your right sit bone towards your left heel and push into the fingers. You might notice you have a little more space to crawl the fingers forward. Stay low in your lunge. Great. Now begin to drag the hands back to the middle body. Core helps you lift. Inhale, float the arms up. Exhale, touch down and step back to downward facing dog. Big breath in. Wide open. Left foot steps forward. Warrior one. Spiral the back heel down. Draw the belly in and then reach up. So we're moving from the ground up, especially in balance. Notice what's grounded, the four corners of each foot. Deepen into the lunge and simultaneously lift through the waist. Feel your breath. And then hands behind you and put the awkward thumb on top. We usually habitually bind our hands in the same way. So put the opposite thumb on top to feel something different. Then loop the shoulder heads back, extend the elbows and press your knuckles down, lift your chest, humble warrior fold. Bring your rib cage to the inside seam of the front leg. If there's not enough space for that, just a little more width to the left foot will be the trick. Hug the front sit bone to the back heel. Take another breath in to rinse the knuckles overhead. If for any reason your hands don't clasp, you can always put a belt there or a washcloth. And then warrior dog. Take your hands down, crawl on your finger pads so you can let the heart melt through, and then hug the front hip back just enough that you feel the IT band stretch. I don't have to move my hips that much to feel this. So it's not a huge movement of the hips, it's just an isometric hug of that left sit bone back. Great, and then the core kicks on. Drag the fingers, like sweep the floor and feel that flow as you build the body back up through the fingers. Inhale. Good, exhale, downward facing dog. Ground through the hands, step back. Paddle through the legs a little bit. Good, so now that we've built a really firm foundation on 2 feet, we're going to increase the challenge coming onto 1 foot at a time. Look to your hands, step to the top of the mat, come to a fold, relax the brain, take a breath in, breath out, bow a little deeper. On your next inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Heel toe the big toes to touch. Sit back into your sit bones. Reach up through your arms. We've already been in half of the posture that we're going into. So we're going into eagle. You already know the arms. Swing the right arm underneath the left arm. Now shift your weight into your left foot and slide the right thigh down on top. And you have 3 options here. You can sit down into the chair leg and touch the toe to the ground. That'll give you a little kickstand. You can let the toe float, totally fine. Or bind your foot or your ankle around the opposite calf. Now hug all of your major joints to the midline and sit low. Fill your lungs. Empty your lungs, belly draws in. Keep your eagle arms Unwind the leg and lift your right knee up. From here, we'll go into an eagle-armed airplane. Stamp your right foot on the wall behind you, hinge from the left hip. Continue to stare down one unmoving point in the room, and then join the arms in airplane. Level out both hips, so you might notice that softening your left knee helps. Cobra quality or up dog in the heart. And then hands to the mat, standing splits. Dive your nose down the shin bone, drop your head, lift your right heel really high. You're going to feel all of your muscles in your legs firing. One more breath in, and then forward fold. Oh, that feels so good. Relax it out, drain your brain, soften your jaw, squeeze the sit bones up just a little bit higher, and allow your belly to get closer to the thighs. One more inhale. Big, wide open. Great. Utkatasana, chair pose. Heel toe the big toes together. Sit back into your imaginary chair. Reach the arms up. Let's take eagle on the other side. Left elbow under right, bind at the wrist or grab the shoulders. And then sandbag the left thigh down on top of the right thigh. And again, 3 options for your toe. It can either kickstand, float, or you can bind your ankle. Hug to the midline and then lift up through the waist. So you're backing your torso over your pelvis. Heart is bright. Fill your lungs. Draw your belly in as you exhale. Use all of that core stability. Keep the eagle arms. Lift your left knee up as you stand. Fill your lungs. Eagle-armed airplane. Push your left foot on the wall behind you and energize your lifted leg just as much as your grounded leg. Level out the hips and then sweep the arms back. Push down through the grounded foot, hugging muscle to bone. Take a breath in. On your exhale, soften the grounded knee, hands down, standing splits. Lift your left leg as you drop your head. Keep your hips relatively level, but if you notice that leveling your hips a lot causes pain in the grounded knee, soften the grounded knee before you level out the hips. Take one more inhale, and then release that really juicy forward fold. In this variation of forward fold, take your peace fingers around your big toes, move the skin of your heart forward, and then pull as you bow. Elbows go east to west. Drop your head. One more. Great job. Release your hands from your feet, soften the knees, come all the way up to standing. Take your hands to your heart. We have 2 more balance poses. So challenging those stabilizer muscles. You're probably feeling them shake a little bit. That's good news. That means change is on its way. Balance is also really good for stress tolerance. We notice these things are a little bit uncomfortable, we're a little wobbly, but we're building our mental strength and focus to stay committed to the pose. So you're doing great. Bring your right elbow to your waist, palm face up. We'll go into dancer's pose. I like to dock my left hand to my hip, bend your right knee, and grab the arch side of the foot. From there, zip the inner thighs up, reach up through your left arm. This might be plenty for you, and if you need to, you can always put your hand on a chair or the wall. If you would like a little bit more, lift up and then kick. Kick your bound foot into your hand. Move your chest forward. Flare through your toes and reach through your fingers. Really nice. Take one more inhale and exhale. Move to your depth. And release. Foot down, hands to heart. Let's take that on the other side. Right hand to your hip. Left elbow to your waist. Pick up the arch side of your foot. Squeeze the inner thighs in and up. Lift your right arm up. From there, breath in, and then dancer's pose. Kick the shin back. Lift your toes to the ceiling. and then move the rib cage away from the low back. If you notice you're popping your ribs out or your knee is going really wide, hug into the midline and then lift up. Doing a really great job. Be with all the little wobbles. Those are muscles communicating with you. It's good news. Great. Release the foot. Hands to your heart. Take a deep breath in. Big breath out. These are essential practices on any weight loss journey. You want to feel balanced. You want to feel agile. You want to stimulate all those little muscles you need so that you can work out or practice to your optimum. All right? So ground down into your left leg. One more challenging pose for you. Tree pose. Open up the right hip. Slide your foot up the inseam of the leg, either the lower leg or above the knee on the upper leg, and take your hands to your heart. So tree can be as simple as you want it to be. Maybe hands stay at the heart. Or you can take it a little more complex, add a little more variety to it. Send the arms out. You can send them up. You can take cactus arms. I like to take my hands behind my back and find a bind. But lock your gaze onto that drishti point. Sometimes I pretend that the drishti, the physical drishti, the thing I'm staring at in the room, is actually representing the goal, the thing I want. So if for you it is this change in your body, maybe the drishti is just telling you it's already there, it's right in front of you, it's within your grasp. You've got this. One more inhale. Exhale, foot down, hands to heart. Shift your weight into the opposite leg. Circle open the hip, tree pose, vrikshasana, either foot to the lower leg or above the knee on the upper leg. Push your foot and your leg together. So often we get super fixated on our goal without remembering that it is available to us. It's right in front of us. It's a drishti point. But if you get too rigid with it, it'll always feel a little bit out of reach. So see where you can soften. And maybe that's just softening your breath, remembering that you're doing the good work. Fill up with gratitude for all the ways that you can move and breathe. Take one more inhale. Release, foot down, exhale. Great work. Come to the top of your mat, reach your arms up, big breath in. And forward fold, drop your head, relax your body. Good. And then come down to a seat. From here, we'll take just a little seated twist to balance out the spine after the back bend of our dancer pose. And then we'll take a nice, yummy Shavasana. All right. So extend your right leg out long. Take your left foot and cross at the knee. I like to cross at the knee so I can scoot the sit bones back and find a firm root. Then left hand comes behind you like a second spine. So you're lifting tall. Right arm goes up and then either wrap around the knee or hook your elbow to the outside of the knee. For me, I always find it more comfortable to wrap and hug in. And then from there, turn the heart, gaze over the back shoulder. So you don't have to go super far in your twist. You're still getting a benefit just by twisting a little bit. Changes abdominal pressure so that you're stimulating digestion. Then it also balances out the spine so that you are continuing to find space in the vertebrae after you unravel. Good. Switch sides. Lifting tall, and then you twist, either hug or hook. Again, I always like that little hug around the knee. Back arm is a reminder for your spine to stay lifted and tall, and then you twist to your depth. Great work. Unravel, unwind. We'll move down into Shavasana. So come on down. Lay your body out. You can take up space. I like to bring my feet a little bit wide. Arms can come out like an A-frame, or you can take your arms to cactus, whatever feels more comfortable in your upper back and neck. We'll just take 3 or 4 just deep breaths here. If you have extra time today, I encourage you to stay in Shavasana as long as you can, just finding that great rest and digest response in the nervous system. But if you're in a hurry today, if you got a lot going on, give yourself at least 3 or 4 deep breaths, in and out, slow and steady. So you've got these beautiful benefits today of more balance and agility, which will help you feel more confident, not only in your yoga practice or in your fitness classes, but also in your posture, in your ability to feel graceful in movement. And you stimulated all these muscles that help keep you strong as well as toned. So you did really good work today. One more, deep in and out. A sigh of relief. Roll to your side. Head can go into the arm. Just taking a moment to rebound. Transitioning up into a seat. Let your hips sink back to your heels and bring your hands to your heart. So thanks for joining me for all of those challenging balances. I know I felt all my muscles shaking and quaking, and I also had the opportunity to link my breath into how I was feeling in the pose. So I hope you noticed that as well. These are the types of practices that help us feel resilient and strong. And we're going to need this balance work because in the next video, we're going to introduce crow pose, which is a primary arm balance that you probably have maybe met in a yoga class before, and I want you to feel super strong in it. Until then, namaste. Today's bonus video is all about portion control. Portion control kind of feels like this concept that we don't have a clear definition of. Another reason is that portions have just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, so we don't have good indicators of when we should be done for a meal, especially when we're eating out at a restaurant. And then third, there actually has been a lot of change in the last few decades about what is in a nutritious diet. So we don't have to make this overly complicated. In fact, when it comes to portion control, we can think about really simple, easy tips that keep you in line. And when it's easy, you're more likely to do it. So first things first, let's make a plate. We actually have recently shifted to a plate model and away from the food pyramid. The plate model is great because it's a visualization of what your food should look like as opposed to having to count all of the different servings. So when we look at a plate should ideally be something like this. So when we think about a plate model, I like to suggest that half of your plate, half of your meal is green vegetables or vegetables in their whole form. So we're not talking beans here. We're talking things like our greens. We're thinking about things like zucchini. We're thinking about things that have a little bit more going on. So when you hear vegetable, I don't want you to think just potato. I want you to think about lettuce. I want you to think about broccoli. I want you to think about cauliflower and carrots, things that are colorful and delicious. Then about 20 to 25% of your plate could be some sort of healthy protein. And then about 20 to 25% of your plate could be something like a carb, or maybe this is just like your treat. Another way to think of this is the good old-fashioned 80-20 rule. 80% things that are really good for you, and 20% stuff that maybe is a little bit yummy and sort of in that treat status. So when we have something really simple like what does my plate look like, or the 80-20 rule, we know that we are loading up our diet with things that are super duper healthful without making it overly complicated. You also notice on my plate, I use different colors. A colorful diet is a nutrient-dense diet. That means you're getting things like natural greens, natural reds, natural yellows in your diet. When we have a diet that's overly whitewashed, then we know that we're eating a lot of processed foods and we're not always getting all the nutrients that we need. Another thing that you want to think about is the fact that your brain needs time. Your brain needs time to register how much you've eaten. So one thing that you can do right off the bat when you're looking at a plate is to not fill your plate into the decorative area. There's actually a line on a lot of circular plates, and this is where your food goes. And out here, your food doesn't go here. I used to work in food service a long time ago, and in fact, before we were ever able to put a plate on anybody's table, we had to make sure that the edges of the plate were clean. It's more appealing to the eye, and plates are designed for the food to look amazing on the plate. So if you're overflowing your plate, it might look like a heaping amount of food and you probably don't need that much. But when we're working with the natural aesthetics of a plate, then we see this beautiful food that we're about to receive and our brain goes, I'm excited for that. And we know that we aren't eating too much. Another thing that you can do to support your brain's understanding of when you're full is to take your time when you eat. It takes about 15 minutes or so for your brain to fully process all of the food that's been put in your stomach. In fact, your stomach has receptors that sort of measure how much you've satisfied it, how big it's stretched, how much food is in it, but it takes a while for those communication pathways to really make sense of what you've just eaten. So, simple rule of thumb, sit down when you eat. Eating on the go is a really fast track way of eating too much or eating garbage. Sit down when you eat and make sure to take your time to chew. When we sit down and take our time to chew our food, we tend to enjoy our food better. We don't inhale it, so we'll have actually a lot less indigestion, and our brain understands that, now I'm full. This is all I need. These are really simple, easy ways that you can visually understand what your plate should look like, that your brain can actually get on board with what you're eating, and so you don't feel deprived. So remember, the plate method, or the 80-20 rule if that's easier for you. Remember, sit down when you eat and actually take time to taste and enjoy your food. And ensure that you have a very colorful diet that's full of lots of vegetables and lots of lean, healthy proteins so that you are getting nutrients, the nutrients that your body actually craves. You'll notice that your energy is higher. You'll notice that you feel fuller longer. And you'll also have the added benefits of supporting your weight loss, increasing your fitness. You'll have glowing skin. When it comes to your diet is what is going in your body, and that's what your body is made of. So make sure that what you're putting in, you can be really excited and proud of. I'm so glad that you are doing this challenge with me, and I'm right there with you. I know a lot of these things seem simple, but they're not always easy, and I want you to know that you are doing a great job. Keep up the good work, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.
You can stream more full programs and classes right now on Amazon. Click the link below to find Julia Marie Yoga on Prime Video or on the Amazon Wellness Plus channel. Introducing Yoga Plus, offering a free series every month with over 300 different videos. Take control of your health. Work out anytime, anywhere. Yoga Plus. Download now for free.